Did you know that Britain once had over 500 wimpy restaurants serving flame-grilled burgers in ceramic dishes with proper cutlery? There was a time when Britain's high streets told stories through their restaurant windows. Families gathered around checkered tablecloths, couples shared intimate booths under soft lighting, and the aroma of home-cooked meals drifted from kitchens where chefs took genuine pride in every plate. These places were the heartbeat of communities, the backdrop to first dates, family celebrations, and lazy Sunday afternoons. Today, we're taking you on a journey through 10 beloved British restaurant chains that once defined dining out, but have now vanished from our streets forever. If you remember queuing for a Sunday roast, hit subscribe, because these memories deserve to be preserved. 10. Berni Inn, 1955 to 1995. The year was 1955 when brothers Frank and Aldo Berni opened their first restaurant in Bristol. They couldn't have known they were about to change how Britain thought about dining out. Berni Inn wasn't just about the food, it was about the experience. Step inside any Berni Inn in the 1960s and you'd find something magical. Families dressed in their Sunday best, sharing proper three-course meals in an atmosphere that felt both affordable and special. But success in the restaurant business is often just borrowed time. The famous salad bar, a novelty for most Britons, stretched along one wall like a treasure trove of fresh vegetables and exotic dressings. Their Sunday roasts became legendary. Succulent beef carved at your table, Yorkshire puddings that rose like golden clouds, and vegetables that actually tasted like they'd been grown in British soil. By the 1970s, Berni Inn had become a victim of its own popularity. The intimate family atmosphere that made each restaurant special was lost as the chain expanded rapidly. What once felt personal became corporate. The carefully crafted menus gave way to frozen convenience foods. The writing was on the wall when families stopped dressing up for their Berni Inn visits. The final chapter came in 1995 when Whitbread acquired the remaining Berni Inns, converting most into Brewers Fayre pubs. The elegant dining rooms where 3 generations of families had celebrated birthdays, anniversaries, and quiet Sunday afternoons together fell silent. All that remains now are faded photographs and the lingering memory of mint sauce served in proper glass bowls. What started as a revolution in British dining was about to become another casualty of corporate efficiency, but the evolution was far from over. 9. Happy Eater, 1973 and 1997. Picture this, it's 1977 and your family is driving to Cornwall for the summer holidays. After hours on the M5, you spot the cheerful orange and yellow sign, a smiling face that meant relief, refreshment, and the halfway point of your journey. Happy Eater wasn't just a service station restaurant. It was where British families created motorway memories. The mascot, a jovial chef called Mr. Happy, welcomed travellers with a grin that promised more than just a meal. But the British appetite for motorway dining was about to change forever. Inside, children coloured in activity books while parents savoured proper cooked breakfasts that put petrol station sandwiches to shame. The genius of Happy Eater was understanding what families needed during long journeys. Clean toilets, generous portions, and staff who didn't mind when children spilled their orange squash on the vinyl seats. Their Olympic breakfast, a mountainous plate of eggs, bacon, sausages, and toast, became the stuff of family legend. The 1990s brought brutal competition. Little Chef expanded aggressively, while McDonald's began targeting motorway services. Happy Eater's homely charms suddenly seemed old-fashioned compared to the slick efficiency of global chains. In 1997, the unthinkable happened, and Britain's motorways would never smile the same way again. Granada Services bought the chain and systematically converted every Happy Eater into Little Chef. The cheerful mascot vanished from Britain's motorways forever. The last Happy Eater closed its doors in 1997, taking with it the simple joy of a smiling face. But Happy Easter's corporate takeover was just the beginning of motorway dining's transformation. 8. Little Chef, 1958 to 2018. For 6 decades, the red and white checkered sign of Little Chef was as British as afternoon tea and Sunday roasts. From 1958 to 2018, it served as the nation's roadside companion, feeding millions of travellers with hearty portions and friendly service. Little Chef understood something fundamental about British travel. We needed more than just fuel for our cars. We needed comfort food, proper cups of tea, and a moment to stretch our legs in familiar surroundings. But even 60 years of loyal service couldn't protect Little Chef from the changing face of British travel. Their Olympic breakfast, 8 items including the famous hash browns that most Britons encountered for the first time at Little Chef, became a pre-motorway tradition. The restaurants were designed for families, spacious booths where children could spread out their toys, picture windows overlooking car parks where you could keep an eye on your luggage, and menus that never changed so you always knew what to expect. The problems began in the 1990s. Little Chef's homely charm started feeling tired rather than comforting. Corporate ownership changes made everything worse. Each new company promised revival but delivered decline. The last Little Chef served its final Olympic breakfast in 2018, ending 6 decades of roadside hospitality and leaving Britain's motorways a little less friendly than before. The final years were painful to watch, as Britain's most beloved roadside friend slowly lost its way and the restaurant revolution was claiming victims everywhere. 7. Aberdeen Angus steakhouses, 1961-2020. In the swinging 60s, when London was the centre of the universe, there was nowhere more glamorous to dine than an Aberdeen Angus steakhouse. The concept was revolutionary for Britain. Choose your steak, watch it sizzle on an open grill, and eat it in surroundings that made you feel like a film star. But theatrical dining was about to face its toughest critic, changing British taste. The original Leicester Square restaurant, with its exposed brick walls and theatrical lighting, attracted everyone from tourists to celebrities. Elizabeth Taylor dined there, so did members of the Beatles. For families saving up for a special night out, Aberdeen Angus represented aspiration made affordable. Parents could treat their children to restaurant dining that felt luxurious without breaking the bank. The atmosphere was sophisticated yet welcoming, formal yet fun. By the 1980s, what once seemed sophisticated began to feel gimmicky. Food critics dismissed Aberdeen Angus as tourist traps, though they missed the point entirely. Competition from themed restaurants and wine bars was changing London's dining landscape forever. Most locations closed by the 1990s, though a few lingered in tourist areas, shadows of their former glory. The last authentic Aberdeen Angus steakhouse closed in 2020, ending an era when dining out meant putting on a show and every meal felt like opening night. The curtain had fallen on theatrical dining, but the show was far from over. If this is bringing back memories, you'll love the rest of the list. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next one. 6. Pizzaland, 1965 to 1996. In 1965, something extraordinary happened on Britain's high streets. Pizzaland brought authentic Italian-American dining to ordinary British towns, complete with red-checkered tablecloths and pizza ovens that promised something exotic and delicious. This wasn't London's sophistication. This was democratic dining at its finest. Pizzaland understood that families wanted more than just fish and chips for their Saturday night out. But bringing Mediterranean dreams to British realities was more complicated than anyone imagined. The restaurants became local landmarks with their distinctive red and white branding. Inside, children watched in fascination as pizza bases spun in the air, while parents marveled at portions that seemed impossibly generous. The salad bar, still a novelty for most British families, stretched along one wall like a colourful Mediterranean market. The problem wasn't the food or the service, it was timing. By the 1990s, Pizza Hut's aggressive expansion and superior marketing muscle made Pizzaland feel quaint rather than pioneering. Economic pressure was mounting, and the corporate takeover was inevitable. The last Pizzaland closed in 1996 when Whitbread acquired the chain and systematically converted locations to Pizza Hut. For those who experienced them, these restaurants represented something precious, a time when going out for pizza was still an adventure. By 1996, the Italian dream had become a corporate statistic, and the restaurant evolution was about to claim an even more elegant victim. 5. Garfunkel's 1979 to 2003. Walk down any British high street in the 1980s and you'd spot them immediately. Elegant, black and gold signs promising good food and good times. Garfunkel's wasn't just another restaurant chain. It was where Britain learned that dining out could be both sophisticated and affordable. But success in the restaurant business often contains the seeds of its own destruction. The interiors were carefully crafted to feel expensive. Mahogany effect paneling, soft lighting, and artwork that wouldn't look out of place in a gentleman's club, while remaining welcoming to families and young couples on dates. Their famous Wheel of Fortune salad, a massive circular platter divided into colourful segments, turned ordering into entertainment. As Garfunkel's expanded throughout the 1990s, the personal touch that made each location special became harder to maintain, and the prices that once represented good value started feeling steep. Competition intensified from every direction: wine bars, casual dining chains, and celebrity chef restaurants. By 2003, most Garfunkel's locations had closed. The black and gold signs that once promised good times disappeared from Britain's high streets, and Britain's dining revolution was becoming increasingly unforgiving. 4. Wimpy, 1954-2017. Long before McDonald's conquered Britain, there was Wimpy. Founded in 1954, it wasn't just a restaurant. It was Britain's introduction to American-style dining with a distinctly British twist. Picture walking into a Wimpy in 1965. The smell of flame-grilled beef hits you immediately. Red vinyl banquettes line the walls beneath bright fluorescent lighting. But here's what made Wimpy different. Your burger arrived on a proper ceramic plate with real cutlery. No paper wrapping, no plastic trays. This was fast food with dignity. But even the most beloved institutions can't escape the changing appetite of a nation. The Wimpy Grill became a rite of passage for British teenagers. Their famous slogan, "Meet you at the Wimpy," wasn't just advertising, it was how an entire generation made plans. Families would pile into their Morris Minors for a Saturday treat. Children pressing their noses against steamed windows while parents savoured coffee that came in actual cups and saucers. The golden age couldn't last forever. When McDonald's arrived in Britain in 1974, they brought speed that Wimpy couldn't match. While Wimpy cooks carefully flame-grilled each burger to order, McDonald's had perfected the assembly line. What once felt sophisticated now seemed slow. The ceramic plates that symbolized quality became an operational burden. The very traditions that made Wimpy a British institution had slowly become its greatest weakness. The final blow came when Grand Metropolitan sold the chain. Store after store closed as leases expired. That warm, familiar comfort of meeting friends at your local Wimpy slowly disappeared from British high streets, leaving only memories of brown sauce on proper china and the gentle sizzle of beef on the grill. By the 1990s, it was clear that Britain's first love affair with American dining was coming to an end, and nothing could stop what came next. 3. Casey Jones, 1972 to 1995. Saddle up for a journey back to when British families could experience the American frontier without leaving their hometown. Casey Jones brought the Wild West to Britain's high streets, complete with swinging saloon doors, checkered tablecloths, and portions that could feed a cowboy. Opening in 1972, Casey Jones restaurants were theatrical experiences disguised as family dining. Every location was designed like a frontier town saloon, complete with wooden floors, wagon wheel chandeliers, and staff dressed as cowboys and saloon girls. But themed restaurants live by novelty and die by familiarity. The food matched the atmosphere, hearty, generous portions that celebrated American comfort food. The children's menu came with colouring books featuring Casey Jones' adventures, turning every meal into entertainment. The Wild West theme that seemed so exciting in the 1970s began feeling gimmicky by the 1980s. As British palates became more sophisticated, the theatrical elements that once delighted diners started seeming childish. The final Casey Jones closed in 1995, ending 2 decades of bringing the Wild West to British families. By 1995, the Wild West had been tamed and the frontier spirit was heading for its final sunset, but the most elegant chapter of British dining was yet to be written. 2. Tiffany's 1981 to 2001. Step inside a Tiffany's restaurant in the 1980s, and you entered a world of understated elegance that made every meal feel like a special occasion. These weren't the jewellery stores, these were something far more precious to British families. Restaurants where ordinary people could experience luxury without intimidation. But elegance, it turned out, was a fragile business model in changing times. Their restaurants achieved the perfect balance: elegant enough to impress a date, comfortable enough to bring your parents, affordable enough for young couples just starting out together. The recession of the early 1990s hit Tiffany's hard. Their positioning as affordable luxury became simply expensive when money was tight. Customers who once saved up for special occasions at Tiffany's began seeking better value elsewhere. The last Tiffany's restaurant closed in 2001, ending an era when dining out meant dressing up, when restaurants could make ordinary people feel extraordinary simply through the power of good taste and genuine hospitality. As the millennium approached, the very elegance that made Tiffany's special began to feel like a relic from a more formal age, and the casual dining revolution was about to claim its greatest victory. 1. Golden Egg, 1965 to 1985. Before Café Rouge, before Pizza Express, before the casual dining revolution that transformed British eating, there was Golden Egg. From 1965 to 1985, these bright yellow restaurants taught Britain that going out to eat didn't require Sunday best or special occasions. It just required an appetite and a desire for good company. Golden Egg was revolutionary in ways that are hard to imagine today. They were among the first restaurants to offer all-day dining, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner with equal enthusiasm. But being first doesn't guarantee being forever. The interiors were designed for comfort rather than ceremony. Bright yellow and orange color schemes created a cheerful, welcoming atmosphere. Booths provided privacy for couples, while long counters accommodated solo diners. Golden Egg's casual dining revolution succeeded beyond their wildest dreams and ultimately made them redundant. By the 1980s, every high street had multiple options for informal dining. What once seemed innovative became commonplace. Corporate changes sealed their fate when J. Lyons sold the chain in 1983. The last Golden Egg closed in 1985, but its legacy lives on in every casual dining restaurant that followed. Every all-day menu, every counter seat, every restaurant that welcomes solo diners, all trace their DNA back to those bright yellow pioneers. The Golden Egg that laid Britain's casual dining revolution was finally broken by the very success it had created. Before we close this journey through vanished Britain, let's remember a few more lost friends. Pizzaland, a place where British families first discovered that pizza could be a proper meal out, complete with salad bars and children's portions. Beefeater, the pub-restaurant hybrid that brought American-style steakhouse dining to Britain's suburbs, complete with unlimited salad bars and theatrical presentation. Henneke's, the Victorian-style wine bars that brought continental sophistication to British drinking culture long before wine bars became ubiquitous. Each one represented more than just food. They were gathering places, celebration venues, and the backdrop to countless British memories. These restaurants didn't just feed us, they shaped how we thought about dining out, family time, and treating ourselves. They were the places where we celebrated promotions, marked anniversaries, and introduced children to the magic of restaurant dining. Which of these vanished restaurants holds the dearest place in your heart? Share your memories in the comments below. Tell us about first dates, family celebrations, or simply the comfort of knowing your favorite meal was waiting whenever you needed it. Let's keep these memories alive together, because while the restaurants may be gone, the moments they created live on in all of us.